Hi MVPs, it's Krista here at Montclair Village Pilates, and today we're going to do 4 exercises that are going to help strengthen our outer hips. So we're going to be lying on our sides to start with. You're going to lie all the way down, and you're going to take your bottom leg and bend it. For me, my bottom leg is my left, so let your head rest on your shoulder. If you feel like you would be more comfortable with a pillow or a towel here, you can place one there. I'm going to go without for today. I'm going to take my top leg and I'm going to lengthen it very long so that my waist is not collapsed, but I'm really lengthening, and maybe there's a little bit of mouse hole of space underneath this underside of my waist. Stacking shoulder over shoulder and hip over hip. I'm going to take my foot and relax it. Sometimes I call this the dead foot or the ugly foot because we don't want to make it look pretty. We want to make the hip do the work, not the foot and calf. So from here, starting at hip height, we're going to lift the leg about 12 inches or so and then back down to hip height. And of course, you go to the height that feels good for your body. If it's only a couple of inches, that's what you do. Here's 4. We're doing 10 of these. And 5. I'm drawing my abdominals inward just to support myself. 6. And 7. And 8. 9 and 10, and then rest. So you should feel a little bit of warmth happening kind of in the outer part of your hip at this point. So then from here we're going to go into a little bit of the side kick, which is more of a traditional Pilates exercise. So we pick up the leg about hip height again. We give the foot a nice flex and keep lengthening through that hip joint. We're going to bring the leg forward with a little pulse and then backward with a little pulse. So I'm going to flex my foot as I go forward, forward, and I'm going to point my foot as I go back, back. We're going to go exhale, exhale, and inhale, inhale. We're going to do that 2 more times. Exhale, exhale, and inhale, inhale, and 1 more time. Exhale, exhale, and inhale, inhale. That's your side kick. So we just did 5. You can do up to 10. Now we're going to go into circles. So picking that leg up again, I'm going to give it a soft point. So I'm lengthening, and I'm going to go little circles for 1 and 2. We're doing 10 of these. 3 and 4. It's a small circle. It's not very big. It's probably about the size of a salad plate or maybe even a dessert plate. We've got 5 more. 4 and 3, and I'm making sure that it's my leg inside of my hip joint that's doing the circling. It's not my foot or my calf. And we're going to reverse our circles, going for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. And rest. So you might feel a little bit more heat or maybe even a little bit of a gentle burning happening in that hip. We're going to take the next one, which is the clam. So we're going to stack the knees, and I want to show you a little trick that I do with my clams. Sometimes I have tight hip flexors, so when I do a clam like this and I've stacked my knees and I'm bent about 90 degrees at the hip, the first thing I feel is that this muscle here in my hip flex, my superficial hip flexors, kind of grabs. And that's basically the main thing I feel when I do my clam, but I don't want to feel that. I actually want to feel the back of my hip working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease my hip flexion by moving my knees a little bit backwards. So I'm opening my hips a little bit here. You can choose how far works for your body. Just find a little bit of opening there at the hip. And then we're going to take the muscles on the back of the hip. We're going to use those to wrap that thigh bone outward and upward toward the ceiling. And then release it. And rotate it and release it. So we're doing external rotation of the hip. We're moving that leg inside of our hip joint. We're going to go for 5 more. We're doing 10 of these. And 4, trying to work from back behind you. 3, you should feel this a little bit deeper underneath your glute as opposed to the last exercises, which was kind of more side of the hip and gluteus medius. And bring it down and rest. Okay, we're going to sit ourselves all the way up. We're going to take our legs to the other side, and we're going to do the same series on the other side. So lying all the way down, bending the bottom leg, extending the top leg. taking that leg about hip height and really find some length between your rib cage and the front of your hip. And we're gonna go up, down here. Using that outer hip for the movement. So I'm not trying to kick it up. I'm trying to use this muscle to help press that leg up toward the ceiling. Abduction. We're gonna go 4 more. And 3. And 2. And 1. And gently release. Good. Then we're gonna go into our side kick. Lift the leg again, lengthen through your waistline, flex your top foot, and we go forward, forward. And we point and we go back, back. I'm a little close to my mat, I'm gonna move. Here we go, forward, forward, and back, back. And 3. Stretch it back. And forward. And back. And one more time. And bring it back. And lower down and rest. Good, so that's your side kick. And now we go to our circles. We're gonna pick that leg up again, hip height, and little circles for 1. And 2, trying to be nice and broad across your chest and collarbones. Here's 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9, and 10. And then we reverse. And 7, 6, 5, and 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest it down. And then we go to our clamps. So we're gonna bend the knees and we're gonna decrease our amount of hip flexion here, opening a bit at our hips. Taking that top leg, we're gonna rotate it outward. Knee tries to reach toward the ceiling and then release. Rotate that thigh bone inside of your hip joint and release. Here's 3 and 4. Really working from the back of the hip. 5. 5 more. And 4 and 3. We've got our last 2 coming up. And 1. Very nice. So we're going to just stretch ourselves out. So you're going to go onto your back. We're going to stretch the leg that just worked first, which is my left leg. So I'm going to take that leg and I'm going to cross it over for a figure 4 stretch. Now this isn't great for everyone's knees, so if you know that your knees don't like this stretch, you could do a different kind of twist maybe to stretch out those hips, or if you know something that you like better, go ahead and do that now. We're going to go for our figure 4, flexing the foot of the leg that's stretching. You're going to pull your knees in towards your chest. Taking the hands either through to hold the shin or behind the thigh is fine. One thing that I'm picky about on this stretch is that if you're a little bit tight, you may end up in a situation where you feel like you have to hold yourself up like this, in which case it gives you some tension in your neck and shoulders. So what I would encourage you to do in that situation, if that's you, is to get a pillow or a towel, or maybe even a small ball to let your head rest down onto it. So stay here and breathe. 2 more breaths. And then we're going to gently release, and we're going to change legs. So I'm crossing my right leg over my left thigh, flexing my right foot, using my abdominals to gently support me as I draw my knees in, holding on to the shin or holding on behind the thigh. We're going to hold this for 3 to 5 breaths. And then we're just going to gently release. Roll over onto our sides. Use our arms to sit ourselves up. And there you are. That's your hip workout for the day. Thank you.